A spear, said to be capable of hunting fierce lions, dazzles with its handle shining like a rainbow. Before even exerting force, it splits a pig's kidney into two halves. It leaves Doug Marcada, who has seen countless blades, speechless. Adding to the challenge, the show introduces the toughest blind draw challenge ever. It emotionally overwhelms skilled smiths who come to compete. Aside from drawing raw steel blindly, they must also forge it into a hatchet with a blade length of 15 to 20 cm and a width of 10 to 15 cm. Matthew pulls out a 5160 spring steel fan first. JC draws a W2 high-carbon lollipop second. Aaron picks 4 1084 sausage links third. John ends up drawing a 1095 pyramid. These four materials are abstract in their own ways. They only have 3 hours to forge. So, Matthew lightly sands the weld points and then breaks them into several pieces. His 5160 steel bars also need to be reassembled and welded. Breaking them into pieces makes cleaning easier. Aaron cuts the 1084 sausage links into single rods and begins to sand and clean in preparation for welding. John hammers out the most appealing block from many, preparing to clean it for his axe blade material. He plans to forge the axe body from soft steel, which will directly wrap around the blade to form 3 axes. JC breaks the W2 steel lollipop into small rounds, preparing to clean each piece and reassemble them. Aaron has already flattened the sausages and started a second welding. He also pours tens of pounds of flux to aid the fusion. The flux, provided for free, helps avoid impurities, and he could use even more if needed. With the flux, the steel billet becomes exceptionally hard, impressing even Jay Nielsen. Matthew prefers to use a press to join the steel billets, especially enjoying the moment the billets are pressed tightly. John uses a power hammer to extend his 3 pieces of soft steel with decent results. However, after hand hammering, he finds the material too plentiful and increasingly unattractive. So he decides to cut a new piece and start over. JC has just finished cleaning the W2 steel and is ready for a second welding. His pace isn't slow, but the small rounds make the process challenging. After several heavy strikes, the steel column shifts and even cracks. Frustrated, he immediately hammers off the cracked material. Unfortunately, the remaining material is also flawed. Now he must regroup and start over, but he needs to hurry. Aaron has already completed the second forging and started stretching the material. After confirming the absence of defects, Aaron used the rounded corner of the anvil to hammer out the axe blank. He is now close to forging the axe blade by compacting the shape. Matthew, after extending the steel billet, noticed some cracks which fortunately were few and concentrated at the front end. Cutting off the flawed part should allow him to forge the axe blade. JC wrapped a piece of soft steel intending to create 3 pieces, but his technique didn't match his idea. After forging, the 2 steel pieces still didn't merge well. With little time left, JC had to forge the axe blade with the limited W2 steel he had. In the final hour, John's 3 re-welded pieces welded excellently. After checking for flaws, he directly forged the axe blade, satisfied with the result. Aaron's axe blade was decent, though the blade width was narrow. To ensure accuracy, he repeatedly measured and compared until confirming the dimensions before proceeding to the crucial quenching. JC also used a round rod for support while forging his final axe blade. Though the operation was complex, he didn't meet the size requirements. With little time left, he had to rehammer to lengthen it. John used all his strength to widen the axe eye, then used a blowtorch to directly heat the blade for quenching, enhancing the blade's strength while maintaining the axe body's toughness. Matthew followed with the quenching of the axe blank, achieving a good hardness. JC was the last to complete the axe head quenching. Time was up, and the first round of the challenge ended. 4 contestants, each showcased their skills with 4 types of tough dishes, creating impressive axes. First was Matthew's hand axe. The shape was greatly appreciated by Jay Nielsen and seemed flawless overall. Next was Aaron's hand axe. The blade was not wide enough, but the ample material in the body compensated. John's abstract battle axe had a bold design ideal for combat, but would have benefited from a wider axe eye. Lastly, JC's hand axe had a decent shape, but the blade was too thin and not wide enough, and there wasn't enough material in the body to compensate. JC might now take his stylish shovel home for cooking. The remaining 3 contestants advanced to the next round, continuing the battle. In this round, besides adjusting for flaws, They had to assemble an axe handle measuring between 30 to 38 centimeters long. Once completed, it would be subject to high-intensity testing by the judges. 2-hour task timer starts. John clamped the axe blade and directly cut off the axe eye. As a welder for 30 years, he plans to weld a new tube for the handle, avoiding any issues the judges may not favor. This move goes to show you can't be a good bladesmith without welding skills. Aaron welded a piece of steel to the edge of the blade to extend its width. This move clearly underestimates Jay Nielsen's test. Matthew heated and widened the axe eye to prepare for the handle fitting. In the last hour, John spot welded the sides of the blade several times to strengthen it. Truly a professional welder and hobbyist bladesmith. His robust welding made even Jay Nielsen's scalp tingle. He then reheated the blade for a second quenching. A very stable operation. Aaron sanded the handle material and fitted a non-locking handle, a time and effort-saving technique. Matthew, while fitting the handle, hammered too hard and cracked the bottom of the handle. However, it wasn't a big issue as glue and tape were sufficient to fix it, as long as the handle wasn't used for striking. John cut a wedge piece to reinforce the handle. As for any cracks that appeared, he wrapped them in leather. If you can't see a crack, it's as good as not having one. Time's up. Second round ends. First was Jay Nielsen's log chopping strength test. Matthew's hand axe was tested first. The blade had no issues, and Jay Nielsen was very satisfied. Next was John's battle axe. The axe body was also intact. Finally, Aaron's hand axe. Jay Nielsen waved his hand and discovered a problem. It was 1.5 centimeter too long. Aaron can now head home, being the first contestant in the competition to fail parameters in 2 consecutive rounds. Ultimately, Matthew and John advanced to the third round final. They will bring the Maasai lion hunting spears from home to battle it out. Originating from the fierce 15th century East African Maasai warriors, the spear was initially a practical tool for hunting lions and cooking meat. It evolved to one end breaking shields and the other killing lions, making it an essential artifact for Maasai warriors' home and travel. Both contestants' spear blades must be between 58 to 63 centimeter, and the spear groove must be at least 25 centimeters long. They will return with their spears in 5 days for the final judge testing. The winner will be the champion of this competition. So John went home, started forging the spear tip and groove, after getting a piece of quality steel. He even interacted with his daughter while the steel billet was heating, not expecting this to cause his billet to break. He then had to quickly forge the remaining material into a spear tip, or else the day would have been wasted. Matthew also successfully forged a piece of finished high-strength steel. The spear tip was made smoothly. After grinding and cleaning, he started working on the spear groove with a new steel billet, and used a secret tool to widen the hole, satisfied with the result. On the third day, John quickly quenched the spear tip, but it bent too much. After some thought, he decided to start over with a new billet, as a flawed tip could not win the competition. Matthew's quenching went smoothly. He also chose a beeswax handle, which is very sturdy and won't break even if the spear does. After restarting, John's spear tip forging was quite good. While heating the tip, he also made a handheld spear handle. He wasn't afraid of breaking it again. Indeed, after quenching, the severe bending caused it to snap. However, with 30 years in welding, nothing is unsolvable with his welding torch. If needed, he would apply it twice. On the last day, Matthew found the nail in the handle was misplaced. He tried to remove it with pliers but accidentally hurt his nose. 5 days later, both returned to the competition. Matthew's Maasai lion hunting spear was forged from 1075 steel with soft steel for the groove. John's spear used stainless steel combined with 5160 steel with rebar for the tip. The spears underwent 3 rounds of testing. The first test was Doug Markaida's real-world pig stabbing test, starting with Matthew's spear. Doug looked it over twice and had nothing to say. As long as John's spear withstands 2 hits without breaking, he will win the championship. It seems the result is already secure. Congratulations to John for easily winning the championship this time.